What's the cheapest game you've ever bought, not including free titles? Let me present to you Spectrewoods, costing a whopping 20 pence, although I was lucky enough to get it on sale for 10 whole pence.
It looks like it was made in MS Paint. The game opens with what looks like a wedding, and then bam, the bride has a gun. It's action time. Well, this is it. Welcome to level 1 of Spectrewoods. Walk a few steps, find a portal. Congratulations, you've just beat level 1. Level 2 sure looks the same, there's nothing that really tells you what to do, but oh damn, it's a spooky ghost. The bedsheet kind. Think you're so scary just because you're dead? Well here, meet 9mm Glock. Poor ghost had to die twice. So believe it or not, I actually got stuck here. I wander around the woods, sometimes you find a ghost to shoot at, and occasionally I'll hit the edge of the map. But what do? There's no objectives or anything, it's a digital only game, so it's not like I've got a manual I can flick through. Turns out you have to follow the flowers. They grow as you walk through them, leading on the way. But what do they lead to? The boss ghost, of course. And yes, that is the official name according to the trophy list. He takes like 1,000,000 hits, but he does go down. Another portal opens up, and I guess it's time for level 3. What's this? My grave? Well, the flowers sure don't seem to be okay. I did nothing to trigger this. Did I die? I don't see any ghosts. What the hell is going on? So I think this is supposed to imply that you were dead the whole time. Ooh, spooky. Take notes, M. Night Shyamalan. But if you are a ghost the whole time, what the hell are these? Why do they want her dead? Again? Isn't being murdered at your own wedding enough?
That was the entire game, and one of the strangest gaming experiences I've ever had personally. Now, did I get my money's worth? That's kind of hard to say. How do you even judge 10p's worth of entertainment?
Crazy thing is, this isn't just some one-off, totally unique case. Look up the developer for Spectrewoods, The Voices Games Limited. You'll find a ton of games priced in the pennies. Violetti Goottii, Ayleouna, Dragons in Space? Okay, we're definitely going to check that one out. Let's try Lady in a Leotard with a Gun. Great name, comes in at a whopping 39 pence. At a glance, looks like similar gameplay to what we got with Spectrewoods. Same pose, you run around, shoot, all of that. But now you've got the addition of rolling and jumping. Where Spectrewoods was all about that juicy story, this is pure gameplay. Go through a series of levels, kill all the unsettling looking enemies inside, and find the exit. Some of these guys take way too many hits to kill. Like, seriously, come on. Then you get these massive monkey-looking dudes, and they just die in 1 or 2 hits. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Matching with this seeming randomness is the level design. Corridors, open rooms, floating platforms, the Grand Canyon itself, and one single individual side-scrolling stage that snuck its way in here. All of which are untextured, of course, creating this jarring early PS1 looking world, but in higher resolution. Maybe the oddest part of the whole game is the giant creepy duck that's hidden at the end of the game. You know what these kind of games remind me of? The sort of stuff you'd see like 15 or 20 years ago on browser game sites. You know, like Miniclip and Newgrounds. Wait a minute. No. Lady in a Leotard with a gun is on Newgrounds. You can just play it in your web browser. I've been playing a browser game on PS4. What did I pay all this money for? Oh, God damn it.
The Voices Games Limited seem to focus on these hyper super duper budget titles. I did check out their website, but it didn't really seem to answer many questions. The Twitter page has substantially more information if you dig far enough. It appears that this developer is just one guy. I'm assuming it's an amateur programmer kind of testing out different ideas. From the tweets, you can tell that the PlayStation 4 is by far the most successful platform for his games, over 100,000 sales of which being on the PS4.
Coming in at 20p is Violetti Goottii. I still can't say it, but we get dropped right into the game without any warning. It starts off overhead, kinda like an old Zelda title. Until it isn't, because it just becomes a side-scroller. You pick up and throw objects, kinda like Super Mario Bros. 2. Can't believe I'm making that comparison. There are 10 short levels, each with a couple of objectives, some of which can be pretty frustrating to achieve. For 20 pence, I can't actually complain much. It may not be pretty, but it plays well enough.
Fork out the highest price yet, a mighty 49 pence, and you'll get yourself a compilation title, Ascendshaft and Endless-Shaft. Ascendshaft is a horror shoot-'em-up, and if you don't believe me, watch this.
Return safely, my love.
Exactly. This scene lingers for an uncomfortably long time before the gameplay kicks in. You can shoot, move sideways, boost your ship. When you shoot an enemy, it explodes into pixels which can kill you, so you have to plan out your shots in advance if you want to achieve 100% accuracy. Levels get more complex as you progress, and eventually you'll face a boss.
Why is your life worth more than the lives of these simple-minded creatures who probably don't have a sense of self? You should stay at the bottom of the pit and die. I'll only help you with this.
Oh, please make this end. Endless-Shaft is thankfully the first time we take a break from the purple, black, white colour scheme. And yep, it's an Endless-Shaft alright. Now we've really hit the classic browser game territory. Fall as far as you can without hitting the sides for the high score. It gets so narrow so quickly that it becomes practically impossible unless you just bug the game. There are some other levels to pick from though, like Batshaft. It's an endless shaft, but with bats in it. Spooky. Remember that massive duck in Lady in a Leotard with a Gun? Behold, Gunducky Industries, coming in at 39 pence. A 3D shooter starring many of your favourite polygons from 1994. The ship kinda reminds me of Star Fox. Enemies include wasps with propellers, ducks of course, ducks with propellers, and giant Pepperidge Farm cheddar goldfish. The controls take a little bit of getting used to, so at first, your biggest enemy will be the walls. It starts getting pretty crazy as you progress, but the levels last a little bit too long. They're usually around 10 to 15 minutes each. That doesn't sound like much, but compare it say to Star Fox, and it's a noticeable difference in pace. Also priced at 39 pence is Gunducky Industries Plus. It's an upgrade, almost a remaster of the original game. Models are less blocky, enemy projectiles now glow so they're easier to see, and you have a secondary objective to kill all of the enemies that are glowing purple. That's what this counter is for. It's genuinely kinda challenging. I'd say the hardest of the bunch so far to get the Platinum Trophy.
So next up we've got Ayleouna. Next one's Ayleouna.
It's another 39p game, back to the familiar comfort of the black and purple colour scheme. I guess I'd call this a gravitational platformer? Sometimes it's a side-scroller, sometimes it's 3D platforming. Gravity keeps shifting as you hop between platforms and planets. You know, in some bizarre alternate universe, this is what we got instead of Super Mario Galaxy. This level seems impossible. How am I supposed to get past this whole planet that is made of spikes? It's either that direction or you can just fall into oblivion. Seriously though, I cannot figure this out. I managed to pull this off once or twice, but now it's just more frustrating because I can't figure out how I did it. Come on. Come on. Get over there. Oh. Okay, that'll do. You think that looked nuts? Wait until you get to this part.
Now maybe it's because I'm part of a generation that played lots of web browser games as a kid, but I do find a certain charm in these little games. They're not masterpieces, but I mean come on, they're in the same price bracket as a Freddo. What more can you really expect from them?
Anyway, as promised, here's Dragons in Space. Once again, 39 pence. A to use weapon? Well, that's a good start. There isn't even an A button on the PlayStation controller. It's clearly been made with the Xbox controller in mind, so it means the X button. Kill dragons by shooting them. Rescue escape pods by touching them. Pretty simple. In the tutorial, your spaceship is equipped with a boomerang. But once you move on to the next level, you're using a lightsaber? Of all the weapons to pick for a spaceship, why on earth would you choose a melee weapon? Imagine if in World War II, instead of equipping all the fighter aircraft with machine guns, they gave them a giant sword. You know what, to hell with it, that would be awesome. The weapons switch up each level. The bouncy balls are the best because you can just launch them infinitely. As for the dragons, let's just say the term dragon is taken loosely. Most of them look more like snakes or stingrays. I managed to beat the game in 10 minutes 36 seconds, and that's including pausing occasionally to take notes. You know, considering you could just use one button and an analog stick, you could technically play this on Atari.
So far, all of these cheap games have come from one developer, so I figure, why don't we expand our horizons just a little bit? Welcome to the world of ZJ the Ball.
Wow. Just wow. It's a 39p slideshow. It claims to be a visual novel, but that gives it way too much credit. There ain't no novel here. Leviticus 19:18? Matthew 7:6? Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbour as thyself. I am the Lord. What the hell does that have to do with a talking ball? For God's sake, have I just paid for an ad? Joke's on me, I guess. They have my money now. Find more ZJ the Ball fun at zjtheball.com? I remember back when we just discover weird websites like this. It's a real blast from the past. If you really want, you can run down the story of characters like ZJ the Ball, and read a comic. Hey, these are just the images straight from the game I just played. Hell, it's the whole damn game. What a waste of money. Way down at the bottom you get a link to the developer, Breakthrough Gaming. Once again, it appears to just be one guy making all of this. And just look at all of these, there's a ton of them. They claim to make Christian-themed video games, and I guess if you count occasionally mentioning God and popping the odd Bible verse in there, then sure, it's Christian-themed. ZJ the Ball seems to be the mascot character, but there's Zippy the Circle, Nick and Kit, the 8-bit guys, and Zoe whatever the hell this is. ZJ even has his own Twitter page. So you'd think all these characters would translate into a whole bunch of games, right? Well, kinda. Breakthrough Gaming charge individually per level.
At 79 pence each, they do meet the criteria of being under £1. So let's take a look at what ZJ the Ball, the actual game, has to offer.
What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of the Bible? To me, it's always been a living bouncy ball that's obsessed with money. Collect the coins, avoid not collecting the coins. Each level, or game I should say, changes up the scenery a bit, but as you can imagine, the gameplay remains effectively the same. I like the ones where you can make ZJ the Ball bounce off the walls like a madman. Whoa, look out! ZJ's had too much sugar again. The levels end with an arcade game that lasts for mere seconds. Any failures in these will take away a coin. So what about this is Christian themed again? The average level lasts around 5 minutes tops. That's 79 pence per 5 minutes, or £9.48 per hour of gameplay.
To put that into perspective, that's nearly £95 for 10 hours of gameplay. This isn't exactly a AAA experience either.
You can pay separately for the same level again in challenge mode. That's right, they charge you for difficulty levels. These are exactly the same as the standard version of the level, but with coins in different, harder to find places. But hey, you may be lucky enough to squeeze an extra couple of minutes out of these, so more bang for your buck. Going back to the website, you can see that Breakthrough Gaming was established way back in 2001, with ZJ coming along in 2005. Judging by the trailer videos, these are the very same levels from over 15 years ago.
Think of all the great titles over the years that we've been begging to be re-released in some form, somewhere, and instead we get ZJ the Ball.
Following in ZJ's footsteps is Zippy the Circle. Once again, sold on a level by level basis at 79 pence each. It starts off by setting the scene, and it's really intense. What the hell does a circle have to do with any of this? Snowboarding? Avoid the trees? Hit speed boosts? I don't know what this is, but it sure as hell isn't a snowboard. Anyway, it doesn't matter because you next find yourself talking to Zoe, the living lampshade, and she tells you to go find your luggage. Okay. Oh wow, 3D. Find your luggage, that's it, you're done. Game complete. Remember those arcade games in ZJ the Ball? Well, you can purchase standalone Breakthrough Gaming arcade titles, like Basketball, in blazing black and white. They probably charge extra for colour. Now this here is very Atari. It's like 45 years out of date. Throw the ball, get a high score. Even the sound effects are from a bygone era. finish all 20 throws and you get a reward, a Bible verse. They don't even write it out for you, so you have to go look it up yourself. I suppose that's my own fault for not permanently having a Bible within arm's reach. Now bowling introduces some colour. We're living in the future now, guys. It's not even a full game of bowling, it's just 3 rounds with some random scoring system. You don't knock down the pins either, instead the ball just kinda collects them. From what I can tell, it's not even possible to get a strike. Naturally, it ends with a Bible verse. It's always the same verse every time. How did they match these to the games? Well, in baseball at least, they actually say what the lesson is supposed to be at the beginning. This should be called Baseball in Space. I mean, look at it. Or more accurately, Catch in Space, because all you do is catch balls. I've played more complex LCD games. The more you catch, the faster they get. Okay, are you serious? How is that fair? And yes, we get another Bible verse, and yes, there's a ton more of these titles. I think you get the idea by now. Another series by Breakthrough Gaming, with the same price scheme of 79 pence per level, is Project Summer Ice. These are just criminal to charge money for. They claim to be visual novels, but how many visual novels do you know that you can finish in 45 seconds? And that's no exaggeration either. You're effectively paying 79 pence, roughly $1, per minute, £47.40 per hour of gameplay, and calling it gameplay is generous. Out of nowhere, this one is a 16-bit style RPG. Well, it's not really an RPG, even if it claims to be, it just looks like one. Walk from point A to point B while people talk at you. It does clock in at an epic 7 minutes though, making it one of the larger titles from Breakthrough Gaming. It ends by giving me some dating advice, so thanks I guess. Speaking of RPGs, how about Our Church and Halloween RPG? Now, without colour, I guess to make it more spooky. 5 to 10 minutes of minimal effort later, and it's encouraging you to purchase the next part. You know, I think I'll give it a miss this time. Now let me introduce you to Random Spin Games. These guys are based in Moldova, and despite the comparatively more modern website, I can't find as many details on them as the previous developers we've looked at. Their tweets are purely promoting new releases, and surprise surprise, they retweet anyone mentioning their games as easy platinums, so they know their target audience, and I think we know what quality to expect as an end result. Let's start with Disco Cannon Airlines. I'd say it reminds me of something you'd see on Gary's mod, but that would be an insult to Gary's mod. We've got the disco music, there's the cannon, and that's the airlines. Disco Cannon Airlines. This is just full on, here's an easy platinum trophy territory now. Random Spin aren't even trying to hide it. Every time you press X, you get more points. Do that for 5 minutes, congratulations, platinum trophy. What's happening on the screen doesn't even matter. You could legitimately get the platinum without switching the TV on. This just joins a swarm of other Press X for Trophies titles flooding the PlayStation network at present. These kind of games make ZJ the Ball look like an in-depth AAA experience. This one here is called Tokyo Run. Guess what you do? Yep, you got it. You run in Tokyo. Or one infinite looping street in Tokyo at least. It must be near the sumo arena because these guys are everywhere. It's such a low effort title, you don't even get the privilege of having a face. Hell, they couldn't even be bothered to spend a smidge of time on this looping street. At least they changed things up a little. Instead of pressing X, now you hold down forward. You're supposed to avoid the sumo wrestlers, but it really doesn't matter. There's not really any penalty, it just slows you down for a second. Not only would you not even need the television on in this case, you could tie a rubber band to your controller and just leave the room. You'd still get the Platinum Trophy. Maybe we'll have more fun with Funny Truck. Well, there's plenty of laughter in the background, but I can't tell what's so funny about it. We've stepped up to a multi-button game, so this wouldn't pass as an Atari-suitable game. One button accelerates, one analog stick turns, and the other analog stick controls the camera, if you can count this mess as control anyway. Whilst effectively nothing is occurring, your score goes up. Once this number here hits 25,000, well, you guessed it, you get a Platinum Trophy. There are more games from Random Spin, but they are all cut from the same cloth. It's just minimal tasks whilst you wait for a number to rise to a certain value within 10 minutes or so.
That's now 3 developers I've looked at that all produce super budget games, and to be fair, on the PlayStation Network at least, they make up the majority of games under £1. There's a few others here and there, but most of the time you find something for under £1, it's because it's on offer or something. What's really crazy is, despite the under £1 price tag I set, most of these are still not worth spending your money on. And sure, you could argue that 1 or 2 of them are technically worth the money, but you can't really recommend them. You shouldn't be going out of your way to play these unless you really value having a high number of Platinum Trophies. So, in other words, it's kind of like a pay-to-win situation for your PlayStation account. Look at the mess that's become of my trophy list now. There's nothing here to be proud of. What I've actually learnt here is quite simple. When it comes to gaming, set your budget above the £1 mark. There are plenty of cheap games out there that are worth playing, but when you set the budget this low, you're lucky to get any gameplay at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Freddo.